So hey peeps, I'm sure we all kind of saw this coming, and here we are. So welcome to our newest installments in our video lessons, and today I am going to take us through all of the instruments that we play here at Lowell. So if you look down in the timer bar, then you will be able to see very likely a chapter sort of division. That way you can skip directly to the lesson set for your instrument. So check there in case you have any questions before we keep moving forward. Okay, let's get started. So the first instrument I'm going to teach on today is the cello. And this cello right here, I just tuned it. I have set everything up so it's really nice. And the song that we want to be playing today is in fact on page 8, if you have your own book. If you don't have your own book right now, then page 8 should be the 5th page of the packet that I made for you. At the bottom of the page, there is a 2-line song called Rolling Along. Now, we've talked about it before, and this song actually has the same melody as Mary Had a Little Lamb, and should end up sounding like this. So it's very, very familiar. Now, before we get into the actual playing of it, let's review what our string names are and which notes go with which finger. So from the highest string, if I reach all the way across to my highest one, I have all dolphins get crabs. So A, all, D, dolphin, G, get, C, crabs. Now we want to be on our number 2 D string. So when we have that 0 fingers, it's just a D. When we put our first finger down, so right there at the top tape spot, and press that string all the way into the fingerboard, that D goes upwards. It's shortening the string just enough so that it's getting a higher tone. And when we go upwards in pitch, we go in alphabetical order. So D is followed by E. So first finger E. And hear the difference there? If you're getting that really soft, make sure that up here you're pressing nice and firm until it rings. It might be a little uncomfortable, but you can do it. The next note you put down second and third finger. So cello players, your second tape or your second dot, that is where we want to have those fingers end. So you're going to have this middle finger in between them. It's just such a big spread, so give yourself that extra finger. And now we have our third finger, F sharp. You might have also heard me call it FARP before, because I like to make it one syllable. So now we have 0 D, 1 E, 3 F sharp or FARP. Now if we add the fourth finger, the pinky, at our very last placement, this turns our note into G. And the pinky, you can lay it down nice and flat. It does not have to be curved and arched like the rest of the fingers. That way you get just a little bit more strength there. Also remember to keep all the other fingers down when you add fingers like this. So now we have D, E, F sharp, G. So that is something that we can use. And if you need to use a pencil to write in the finger numbers like D0, E1, F sharp 3, G4, that's a good use of your time and energy. So check that out. Now, rolling along, the first 2 measures go, it starts with that F sharp, so we want 3 fingers down. F sharp, lift to 1 E, lift to open D. Add back to 1 E, add back to 3 F sharp, and we do it 3 times in a row. So let's try that in one smooth motion. 3, 1, 0, 1, 3, 3, 3, play it. Now that little squiggle that follows that third F sharp, remember that's a quarter rest, so we have to actually play it as a single beat of silence. So when we move on to the next measure, ooh, look, E. E is first finger. So let's start at the beginning and play all the way into those E's. 1, 2, ready, go. 3, 1, oh, 1, 3, 3, 3, shh. 1, 1, 1, shh. 3, 3, 3. See how I had that shush there during the rest moment? That's going to help you make sure that you leave that open space there. So actually say it when you're practicing it. Now look at the second line. The very first measure of the second line looks exactly like the first measure of the top line. So it's going to follow that 3, 1, oh, 1, 3, 3, 3. But wait, in that next measure, the one where we have that F sharp 3 times in a row, it's not 3 times anymore. This time we don't have a quarter rest on beat 4. So we play that 4 times total. So the second line starts and ends up sounding like this. 3, 1, oh, 1, 3, 3, 3, 3. And without a pause, you play the next 2 E naturals, 1 finger, E, E. Put down 3 fingers for that F sharp, 3. Back to E, 1, 1. Open to D, 0. Oh. So I'm going to go back and play this from the beginning all the way through both lines at a nice steady beat. If you decide that you want to start playing this faster, you can always go into the settings, find the little gear down at the bottom of the YouTube channel screen, and you can adjust the playback speed. So you can always make this faster if you want to. So pizzicato pluck with me from the very beginning. 1, 2, ready, go. 3, 1, oh, 1, 3, 3, 3, shh. 1, 1, 1, shh. 3, 3, 3, shh. 3, 1, oh, 1, 3, 3, 3, 3, 1, 1, 3, 1, oh. So that is our basic pattern right there. However many times you need to, you can always rewind, play along, or review. So go back and do it again if you need to with the pizzicato. I'm going to move forward with the bow now. So now I have my bow. I'm going to first check and make sure that my bow grip is good. So make sure that you have that hand nice and relaxed. You're going to bring your thumb across your palm like you're making a loose number 4 with the knuckle bent a little bit. You're going to put the tip of that thumb finger not in Frog's mouth, but right there on the side of the stick, and then flop the rest of your fingers over the front cellos. This is going to give us the best possible bow grip, and make sure that you keep that thumb nice and relaxed. If you accidentally squish and then you get banana thumb, this is not what we want. See how my nail is starting to change color there? No me gusta, no good. You gotta bend it outward just a little bit. So now I'm gonna play it with the bow, arco, and you guys can play along with me, or you can rewind, rewatch as many times as you need to. Starting with that 3-finger F sharp. 1, 2, ready, go. that's it. So happy practicing, everyone. Try and play through this at least twice every day until we see each other again. So next week, we will be getting probably another video like this. Just keep your eyes open for it. And as always, thank you for making music with me today. Bye, everybody. So the second instrument I'm going to be giving you guys a lesson on now is our violin. So if you're a violin player, this is your jam. First thing we want to do is, again, on page 8 of our book, or the 5th page of our packet, find the song Rolling Along. It is line number 19, and it's got 2 lines of music in it. So just like reading a book, when we get to the end of one line, we always go back to the beginning and read the next line down. No muss, no fuss. Now, first thing we're going to do before we actually practice and play through this is we're going to remind ourselves our string letter names, and also we are going to remember how to do our fingers on that D string. So if I come up to my violin and from the lowest string over to the highest, I go good, dogs, always, eat. G good, D dogs, A always, E eat. We want our D dog string. So that is our 3rd one in, or it's the 2nd lowest one. Now when we have 0 fingers down up here, take a look down the length of my instrument. 0 fingers is open D. When we put 1st finger down at that very top tape, then now I have 1 E. And if you get that kind of dull sound, make sure that this finger up here is pressing nice and firm, and then you're going to get that beautiful ring. The next finger, 2 fingers, so at that 2nd tape, now we have F sharp. And if I bring my 3rd finger down at that next tape, don't worry about my silver tape right here, just look at my red ones. Now we have G. So 0 D, 1 E, 2 F sharp, 3 G. Now, for rolling along, we're never going to use that 3G, so that one can just hang out right next to your middle finger. And I'm just sliding it up to my middle finger's knuckle. That way, I don't get in the habit of tucking it under my hand here, because it takes a lot longer to get it back up later when I do want to use it, so I just want to keep it close by. So the first 2 measures of rolling along, and it does sound like Mary Had a Little Lamb, we have 2 fingers for that F sharp already down and ready to go. 2, open for E1, 1, open for OZ, OD, place a finger back down for 1E, and back down for 3 F sharps in a row. So 2 F sharp. And when I play that in a smooth line, it's going to sound and look like this. 2, 1, oh, 1, 2, 2, 2, shh. Now I'm doing a shush there on beat 4 because look, there's a little squiggly quarter rest. That's my moment of silence. It's a single beat of silence there. So to help remind myself and make sure I play it correctly, I'm just going to say shh on that quarter rest to make sure that I am really paying attention to it. I strongly suggest you do too. Now the next measure after that 3 F sharps, now we have 3 E's in a row. So 1 finger and a quarter rest. 1, 1, 1, shh. Next measure is 3 F sharps and another quarter rest. 2 fingers. 2, 2, 2, shh. In the next line down, the first measure is exactly the same as the top line. The measure that follows it, however, instead of having 3 F sharps in a row and a quarter rest, now we have all 4 beats being played as 2-finger F sharp. So that second line is going to end up sounding 2, 1, 0, 1, 2, 2, 2, 2, and following it immediately with no pause in between, E1, 1, 1, 2, 1, 0. So I'm going to go back to the beginning of this song and I'm going to pizzicato pluck the whole way through while also singing along the finger numbers. Remember, you can rewind, rewatch, slow down, or speed up this video at any time by going to the settings gear down in the corner and clicking on it and checking the playback speed. Let's try it. Set up 2 fingers on your D dog string. 1, 2, ready, go. 2, 1, 0, 1, 2, 2, 2, shh. 1, 1, 1, shh. 2, 2, 2, shh. 2, 1, 0, 1, 2, 2, 2, 2, 1, 1, 2, 1, 0. So do that as many times as you need to. I'm going to keep moving forward and I'm going to now play this arco with the bow. And the first thing I want to do is, again, make sure that my hand grip on the bow is as beautiful and proper as possible. So if you've been struggling with this, go ahead and hold up your hand and make a very loose number 4, like you're almost going to touch your palm, but don't quite close it. You're going to feel like your hand has that space in there for a telescope. And that bent thumb, you're going to put right there on the stick of your bow. It does not go through frog's mouth. It does not go in between. You just want to have it stick there right on the tip. Middle 2 fingers across frog's face. Pointer finger leans down and hugs the stick. And pinky finger is just going to boop right there on the top of the stick, close to your ring finger. And that is our beautiful bow hold. So now I'm going to play this nice and smooth. First thing I want to make sure I'm doing is my bow is balanced on the correct string. If I go to a different string, you notice how if I raise my elbow or lower it, I'm going to different strings. I want to make sure I'm balanced on my D string, same one I'm doing fingers on, right? Otherwise it's going to sound weird. So let's play it. 1, 2, ready, go. So rewatch, rewind, play along as many times as you need. And everyone, thank you very much. So most importantly, as always, thank you for making music with me today. Bye. Hey everybody, so welcome back, and the next instrument I am going to teach you today is going to be the flute. So if you are not a flute player, you might want to go to another chapter of this video. Now that all the flute players are here, hi, welcome back. First thing you want to make sure that you already have mastered, because we are going to keep moving forward rather at a high speed, is making sure that you know the fingerings for the first 3 notes that we learned. So if you haven't reviewed these already, we have our D, which is your thumb, the key here in the back of the flute, your middle finger, number 2, 3, lower hand, 4, 5, 6, and that is our D. Our C note is going to be just the pointer number 1 and bottom pinky. So notice how my thumb comes up. Flute players, you have a little screw right there below your thumb key, so if you need to still hold on to something, you can always slide your thumb down to that little screw ball. That is your C, no thumb, pointer 1, bottom pinky, and your B flat, which is the lowest. So don't move pointer 1 or pinky, but add the thumb back and add pointer 4. So in practical use, we have D, C, B flat. And the hardest thing to see is that thumb lift. So trust yourselves, okay guys? So we are now on page 8 of our music book, and the first song that we really want to make sure that we can play well, of course, was Hot Cross Buns, which is that D, C, B flat. So use that as a chance to warm up with me right now. We're just gonna play through that briefly, and if you need to rewind and rewatch and play along again, you are most welcome to. 1, 2, 3. So in order, our notes were D, C, B flat. And again, trust yourself when you try and play that. The next song that I wanted to focus on, and this one is the body of our lesson, is in fact the song line 17, Au clair de la lune. And we've talked about it before, it's a French folk song. So here are the letter names of the notes in order, and I am going to shoulder flute and just do fingers for a moment so that you can finger along with me. So let's try this. It starts on a B flat, so I'm gonna put down thumb, pointer 1, pointer 4, bottom pinky. 1, 2, ready, go. B, 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 C, D, C, B, D, C, C, B, 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 C, D, C, B, D, C, C, B. And a brief moment to remind everybody, you can always make this video go faster or slower by going down to the little gear circle in the corner and clicking on settings and then modifying the playback speed. You can make it faster or slower. You can also rewind, rewatch, and replay however many times you need in order to master this skill. Now, here is the practical side of this. We're actually going to try and play it together. So I'm gonna play through this just the one time because our video we can rewind and rewatch as many times as we like. And I'm gonna make sure that you guys can see all of my fingerings really, really clearly. One, two, ready. because we have this opportunity to see each other through a video, I want to give you a really nice up-close look at what the embouchure, the part of the instrument that meets your face, looks like while you play. Because the flute embouchure is one of the hardest ones to master, let's be honest here. And you kind of want to make this little pew sort of motion with your mouth. And can you see how I've got the little grin going on? And I'm also blowing directly across my tone hole. Now, if you're wondering why I have it slightly off to one side and I have it tilted, well, that's because I have a little Cupid's bow right in the center of my lips. And that's going to split my air just a little bit. So I get the best sound when I adjust by slightly lowering my shoulder and raising the flute on my face a little bit. And it just gives me a nicer sound. So if you ever need to roll outward or closer to your face or adjust the angle of your flute while you play, forward, back, whatever you need to make that beautiful sound, you're allowed to adjust for it. So this is what the song looks and sounds like when you can see the fingers and the face at the same time. So go forth, practice that piece of music. Please practice well. And of course, as always, stay safe. Thank you so much for your time and attention. And of course, as always, thank you for making music with me today. Okay, hi everybody, welcome back. The next instrument I'm going to teach you in this video is our clarinet. So please make sure that if you are a clarinet player, this is the one you're watching. If you are another instrument, then you might want to go and check the chapters down in the bottom of this video to find the one that is for you. So without further ado, hi clarinets! So welcome back to page 8, the very last page of the packet that I gave you. If you have your own book though, then you can actually look for page 8 up in the corner. But my packet, it is the very last page of it. Now, we are today going to review line number 17, which is a song called Au clair de la lune. So first thing we have to do is review the 3 notes that we have learned so far. And most importantly, we want to make sure our finger pad is covering that opening as much as possible. So make it really smooth and flat and really cover that opening. Because if we get little leakies, like you see how my finger is almost covering the whole thing, but like I've got a little bit there, it's gonna sound really weird. So really cover that opening all the way down. Now our thumb gets to stay down the entire time so far. So the first note that we are going to review is that E, which is thumb and 1, our pointer finger there on top. The next note down, all you do is you add a finger, middle finger, so now you have thumb, 1, 2, and you have your D. If you want to go a note lower still, to C, you're going to add that ring finger. So see how I'm just adding fingers in order to lengthen my instrument? And it is going to make a lower sound the longer it gets. So the more holes we cover, the longer the instrument kind of becomes. It's weird, but it's cool. Just trust me on this. So now we have our thumb, all 3 fingers in front C. Release with the 3rd finger, D. Release with the middle finger, E. That's it. That's all we're going to use. Now, Au clair de la lune goes through just those 3 notes, and it plays them in order. C, 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 D, E, D, C, E, D, D, C, 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 D, E, D, C, E, D, D, C. Just like that. So please remember, when you are playing this instrument, to tongue the instrument and separate the notes like this. Your tongue is actually coming forward and making almost like a thu inside your mouth. You want to have about this much of the mouthpiece. Your lip's gonna meet right about here. About this much goes into your mouth. So if you're way out here on the tip, it might not make a sound because it's really hard to get air through. Or if you've got too much in your mouth, it's gonna really squeak very easily and feel very wild and very uncontrollable. So find that happy medium spot, and you wanna stick with that. Also remember that bottom pillow lip, just cushion over your bottom teeth. Not big like, oh, just a little, So let's play it. 1, 2, ready. Now that was fantastic. So if you want to play this faster, you can always go down to settings in the bottom corner and adjust the playback speed. You can make it faster, you can make it slower, but I'm also going to play this one time through just a little bit faster with a little bit more clip in it. And you'll notice that the air never stops when I am tonguing my notes. So it's the same thing from when we learned how to sizzle, that hissing sound, and then using a T sound to separate it. You're still pushing the air, you're just letting your tongue interrupt. So this is it a little bit faster. 1, 2, ready. If at any point you experience a really big goose honk, or you squeak, or you get a very wild sound, just ask yourself, is your reed wet enough? Do you have too much of the mouthpiece in your mouth and therefore it's kind of wild and hard to control? And also, are you making sure the pads of your fingers are fully covering those holes when you actually put them down? Because if you're getting a leak there, it is potentially going to squeak on you. So just be aware of that. You're not doing anything bad, you're not doing something wrong, you just need to do an assessment on your skills and make sure you're doing all of the things that we have already discussed. So everybody, please keep practicing Au clair de la lune. If you are so inclined to start learning some songs lower down on the page, go for it. And thank you for your time. Thank you for your attention. You can always go back and rewind and watch as many times as you need to master this song. So of course, as always, thank you for making music with me today. Hey everybody, so the next instrument I'm going to be teaching you today is now our trumpet. So welcome back, trumpet players. We are on page 8 if you have your own book. If you do not, it is the very last page of the packet that I made for you guys. And we are going to be playing line number 17. So this one is called Au clair de la lune, and it focuses mainly on the 3 notes that we have learned so far. Our open finger C, our first and third finger, D, and our first and second finger, E. Now remember, you can transition smoothly between any of these fingerings without having to lift all of your fingers at the same time. Deal? So here's the first thing we want to do. We want to make sure that our face is ready to actually play, so go ahead and free buzz a little bit with me. If anyone asks you what we're doing, just say we're making the most musical fart noises in the world and your teacher approved. So as much as you can, try and warm that up, and when you're ready, grab your mouthpiece and do the same thing. And you can do a 4 on, 4 off. Or you can do our sprinkler warm-up. So remember? So now that you're nice and warmed up, go ahead and put the mouthpiece back on the instrument. And again, please make sure that you do not bop right here, because that is the equivalent of using your hand as a hammer and driving the mouthpiece like a nail into your lead pipe. Please don't do that to yourselves, because you guys have probably noticed my mouthpiece puller is broken. Please don't do that until I get a new one, and even then it's a bad habit to get into, so now you know. Now let's get back to Au clair de la lune. So in order, and I'm gonna sing and just do the fingers for a second so that you can really, really clearly see what the music is asking us for here. So it's gonna start on a C, and the first way I'm gonna do this is just sing the letter name, show the finger, and do it in time. So let's try. 1, 2, ready. C, 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 D, E, D, C, E, D, D, C, 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 D, E, D, C, E, D, D, C. See how simple those fingers are? So now what I'm gonna do, in order to practice that tonguing part of it, which is really hard for some of us for some reason, is I'm going to sizzle it and do the fingers at the same time. And I encourage you to try the same with me. Now a sizzle is a hissing sound with a T sound to interrupt that air. And it doesn't stop at any point in time. Our tongue just flicks forward and it just gives it a little bit of a gap. Yeah? So now we're gonna sizzle it and do the fingers at the same time to practice that tonguing and keep the air moving. And I guarantee you, you're gonna play it so beautifully once you actually try this. Let's do it. 1, 2, sizzle, go. All right, So go ahead and if you need to, rewind, rewatch, redo how many ever times you need. You can also change the playback speed by going down to the bottom of the screen and clicking on the little gear, the settings, and selecting the playback speed options. You can make it faster or slower, so don't forget that that is something you can use. Let's play it this time. So make sure that your mouthpiece is making nice full contact with both upper and lower lip. And as you can see, because I don't have the mask on today, you notice it's about a 50-50, top and bottom. So half of the top lip, half the bottom lip. Yeah. One, two, ready. If at any point you are stuck down in basement territory with your sound, you like your way down here? See how my lips puckered forward? I'm gonna get closer so you can see me. And we call that playing in the red. So if you are playing in the red, try and bring your lips curled towards each other a little bit, like this. Now I'm not chewing on them, they're not going over my teeth, they're just kind of curling in front right now. So that is what you want to go for there, that and have them meet each other. Now your teeth are still open inside, so keep that in mind. If you close your teeth, it's gonna be a nightmare to try and blow air through. So play not so much in the red, no pucker out, but curl them in a little. And find how much easier it is to get those higher notes out when you're making sure your lip's in the correct position. So everyone, keep practicing, keep playing, and of course, as always, truly from the bottom of my heart, thank you for making music with me today. So everybody, we are now at the end of our lesson. So thank you so much for your time and attention. And in case you didn't watch it to the very end of your section earlier, thank you for your time. Thank you for your attention, truly from the bottom of my heart. And I hope that you manage to keep practicing, keep making music, because it's one of the few things that we can do with unbridled joy right now. And if you live in an apartment complex like me and you are concerned about making sound, especially if you're a wind instrument player, so trumpet, clarinet, and our flute players. So clarinet and flute, you're kind of at a bit of a standstill. You're gonna have to just go for it no matter what. But trumpet players, you can actually take the bell end of your instrument and push it into a pillow, and that effectively halves how much volume you are putting out when you're playing. You're gonna feel like you're pushing a little bit harder with your air, just a little bit, but for some of us that can be a really beneficial thing. It makes sure that we are blowing our air fast enough to start playing those higher notes we're after. So don't give up, have heart, and most importantly, thank you everyone for making music with me today. I love you guys. Stay safe, stay healthy, wash thy hands and wear thy mask, and we will see each other soon. Bye.